I'm Jennifer Kubik with Friends of the Lost Coast, a working partner with Bureau of Land Management. Join me today in this collection of videos that follows water from the headwaters of the Mattole all the way to the Pacific Ocean and beyond. I hope you enjoy this journey, and I hope you're able to visit your own river, watch it flow, and imagine where that water has been and where it might go. Let's get going.
Water. It is vitally important to life. Water itself doesn't have a beginning or end. It's continuously moving through the water cycle. Water moves from clouds to streams to the sea. But rivers have to start somewhere. We are at the headwaters of the Mattole River near the coast in Northern California. The Mattole watershed drains the coastal mountains of the King Range of Humboldt County's Lost Coast. This region of California has many rivers. 30% of all water runoff in the entire state of California comes from Humboldt County. The rainfall and snowmelt flows down from the mountains, collecting in larger and larger bodies of water until it ultimately flows to the Pacific Ocean. Of all the water on Earth, only 3% is fresh, and only 1% is available for use. The other 2% is locked up in glaciers and icebergs. The headwaters of the Mattole River are like all other rivers. Tiny rivulets trickle down from higher elevations. Rain-soaked forest soils release water into small streams. Following the contour of the land, the waters join together to form the Mattole. In these waters thrive fish, insects, frogs, and animals of all types. And as the water makes its way to the sea, the water that started in the sky supports the forests, the land, larger animals, including humans. The waters of the Mattole, like every river, start in the sky and will eventually return with many a journey in between. All the water on Earth has been here since before dinosaurs roamed the planet. Of all the water on Earth, only 3% is fresh, and only 1% we can use. The rest is salt water. The hydrologic cycle moves water around the Earth. Water evaporates into the atmosphere, and it filters down through the land into the groundwater. In these ways, impurities are filtered out. The purer it is, the better it is for us and all the plants and animals on the planet. Biologists call all the plants flora and all the animals fauna. All plants transpire, giving up some of their water to the air. Only a few plants can catch their water from the air. Redwood trees are one of the only plants that can absorb water directly through their leaves. The proximity to the ocean along the California coast dictates the redwood's range. By absorbing fog collected on their needles, redwoods are able to obtain about 1/4 of their yearly water needs. This is crucial to their health during the long, dry summer and fall months. The hot, dry interior of Northern California is getting less and less fog. The fog along the coast has decreased substantially over the last 100 years. Could this change in climate stress redwood trees to the point where they die back? How might climate change affect the future of redwood trees? There are many ways to determine the health of a river. It's not only how much water is running in it, or how cold and clear the water is, but many other things tell the story as well. Are there places for fish to hide? Are there plenty of trees and shrubs lining the banks to keep sunlight and silt at a minimum? Scientists call this area the riparian zone. And bugs. Scientists call river bugs aquatic macroinvertebrates, and they are an excellent way to tell the health of a river or stream. Scientists look into streams to find certain bugs to help them determine the river's health. Some bugs, like these black flies, can live under almost any circumstances, while other bugs, like these stoneflies, can only live in extremely clean and cold water. Take a look at these pictures to see the difference between a healthy river and one in need of help. This riverbank is bare and exposed to the hot sun. It needs trees and shrubs for shade to keep the water cool and also to keep silt from draining into the river. Old logging practices dumped trees and roots into streams, damming the water unnaturally. We used to think trees and root balls in the river were bad, and well-meaning folks removed them. Later, scientists observed that these obstructions provided hiding places for small fish and animals. Now in some rivers, trees and other large obstacles are being put back in to help the fish. Salmon need gravel to make their nest. Silt will suffocate the eggs, and if the eggs do manage to hatch, the young salmon need to burrow down in the gravel for safety. Most animals need cool water to survive. Warm water encourages algae growth, which can be toxic. The warm water can actually kill fish. We know quite a bit about how to keep rivers healthy. It's a shame when we don't do what we can. Some of the most productive and beautiful places on Earth are where salt and fresh water meet. An estuary is a wide, wet area where a river meets the sea. The Mattole River Estuary, located within the King Range National Conservation Area, is where the Mattole River ends its journey to the Pacific Ocean. At least 15 species of fish, 26 species of mammals, and over 160 bird species have been recorded living here. This rich abundance of wildlife is partially attributed to the ability of wetlands to establish themselves in this environment. One reason many different plants can grow along estuaries is because of the high nutrient content here. During high tides, salt water from the ocean can travel upstream. Where the fresh water in the river meets the salty sea, the water becomes brackish. Brackish water is a mix of salt and fresh water. Plants living here have to find ways to get rid of salt. Many plants near the estuary have adapted to brackish waters and can thrive. High levels of nutrients are not only in the water, but in the mud as well. Mudflats provide habitat for many different animals, including invertebrates. These are animals that do not have a backbone. They may have an exoskeleton or a shell. Plant roots and mud provide lots of living places for invertebrates like clams, snails, and oysters. The multitude of invertebrates living in the mudflats of an estuary are important sources of food for animals, especially shorebirds. Shorebirds migrate along certain pathways to get from their feeding grounds to their breeding grounds. The coastline of Humboldt and Mendocino counties are part of the Great Pacific Flyway. In fall and winter, many different species of shorebirds can be observed taking advantage of the abundant food found in this rich ecosystem. One reason estuaries are so productive is that the water flowing through them brings in nutrients from the surrounding watershed. As rivers flow downstream, they collect debris and dead materials, or detritus, in the water. When the water slows down along the lower reaches of a river, nutrients are released. Much of this nutrient-rich material is laid down in layers forming peat, a spongy matrix of decomposing vegetation, live roots, and soil. It acts like a big filter. Overall, estuaries have two very important functions: water filtration and habitat protection. They are nurseries for fish and help stabilize shorelines. In many tropical regions, large plants like mangrove trees protect inland areas from big storms like hurricanes. Their ability to filter pollutants like herbicides, pesticides, and heavy metals make them hugely important for cleaning water before it reaches the sea. Estuaries and their surrounding wetlands are very beautiful. Wildlife abounds here, and they have become important places for human recreating and relaxation. Learning more about these threatened ecosystems, like our own Mattole River estuary, is an important component of ecology. Ecology is the study of how living systems depend on each other. By closely monitoring what happens here, we can understand how water, plants, animals, and humans all influence each other. Through this knowledge, we can help protect and preserve these precious places where the rivers meet the sea.